So thank you very much, sir. And I thank more than about 15 members, 16 honorable members who have participated in this debate. Of course, talking on two bills which are simultaneously brought up for discussion. The supplementary demand for grants 21-22 and also these excess demands for grants for 2018 and 19. I thank every one of the members who have spoken. Quite a few points which are part of the supplementary demands have been raised with questions about why at all such demands will have to be raised by the government if only it looked into these matters in time. This was raised by a few members, particularly on the excess demand for 18 and 19, which has been brought here now. I would like to take a minute to explain as to why the excess demand for grants pertaining to 2018 and 19 is coming in now in 2022. I quite appreciate the concern of the honorable members, particularly when it comes to the question of utilizing public money. And if there is a delay in coming and seeking approval of the House, it's only natural that members will raise concern about it. And I'm here, duty bound, surely, to answer and remove any apprehension that may be in the minds of the honorable members. I would first of all like to say, although it is coming in for approval for the excess that has been used in 18 and 19, there has not been any delay in coming here. It is, of course, related to 2018-19. But why has it come now here? It has come here for regularizing the excess spending of that year, and the need for regularizing it arises because the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee of the Lok Sabha, has clearly looked into it and said that we will have to go back to the House for certain heads of expenditure that has been spent in 18-19 in excess of what has been mentioned in the budget. And although it has been picked up, the PAC felt it has to go back to the House to get regularized, in the sense it should be again looked into by the House and then given that regularization and approval. And therefore we brought it. And when did that PAC report come to us? The PAC report suggesting that we regularize this, looking at the excess expenditure of 18 and 19, was submitted on 14th December 2021. And on 14th December 2021, when it was submitted, the time given for us to get the regularization, meaning approval again from the House, was up to June 2022. We are in March 2022. They have given us time to get the regularization done by June 2022, and abiding by that suggestion given by the PAC, we have brought that as a supplementary demand for grants to meet that expenditure which is already incurred in 18-19 as a regularization step. And that is why that has come. There has not been any delay. And from December, we have immediately taken and therefore come up with this supplementary demand for that excess expenditure which has been incurred for regularizing it. I just want to highlight the point. And what were those excess which was spent at that time? And if we can very quickly highlight the point, I would strongly believe that the members would appreciate as to why those expenditures were incurred, and why, after the PAC having had a look at it and felt that it might be better for us to go to the House to have it regularized. The amount spent were clearly narrated in the papers which have been distributed. I just want to recall that for defense services, 3,841 crores has been taken up for ration, fuel, oil, lubricants, medicals, and many other emergency requirement payment for the HAL. We are talking about 1819, sir. I'm sure the honorable members will recall the circumstances in which these expenditure would have been incurred. For statutory and customs duties for critical ammunitions which were being brought in, imported stores, replenishment of and procurement of airborne and ground weapon armaments, and so on. So these were not expenditures which were incurred otherwise, but very essential, and therefore it has been brought in. Again, capital outlay for defense services has taken 1,257 crores. And where did they go? Allocation made at the BE stage was insufficient, and therefore we had to spend more. Advanced light helicopter approvals were given by the CCS. Strike-off of wastage happened at the component levels for repair for T-90 tanks which came from Russia, and also progress of Rohtang Tunnel CSG roads which were built at that time, critical for connectivity, and some of the work progress which happened at that time happened faster than we thought, such as vehicle procurement cases, National War Museum and Memorial, obligatory contractual payments for shipbuilding contracts, and so on. So none of these expenditure could have just been met with what amounts were given in the BE. They had to be spent and later included. Therefore, when it came to PAC, they wanted to go back to the House, and that's where this is set. So, the supplementary demand for grants otherwise, except for the excess grant about which I've explained, are also aspects which are very important for us to appreciate for a moment. Several members spoke, and I distinctly recall Honorable Member Fawzia Khan also saying we need to have a lot more, human touch in the infrastructure is important. We need to spend. We also need to have greater inclusivity in the budgets and so on. Just look at the supplementary demand for grants and see where this is going. And I'm sure Honorable Member Fawzia Khan herself and several other members who spoke relatively the same kind of highlighting importance on keeping the common man in mind. Look at the fertilizer subsidies, sir. 14,902 crores, which is coming through this supplementary demand. Indigenous urea subsidy, 8,270 crore. And the import of urea, last year you would realize that the price of the import of urea had spiked, and we had to import it at that cost nevertheless. And after having imported it at that cost, the government did not push the burden onto the farmers. The entire hike in the imported fertilizers cost has been borne by the government. The farmers have not been made to pay even one extra paisa for the fertilizers that they had to. Sorry, ma'am?
Please.
I'm highlighting that we've done that, ma'am.
Please.
So the import of urea, sir, 14,000 crores is included, ma'am, for Honorable Member Fawzia Khan, who felt strongly that you should have the common man's interest in your mind. This is that. Similarly, sir, labor and employment, also a part of the supplementary demand for grants. 10,260 crores, supplementary demand for grants. Where is this going? Contribution and grants in aid general under the scheme for employees pension scheme 1995. It goes for that. Rural development, sir, 9,668 supplementary demand. Fourth item under it. And where does that go? For providing additional funds for the NABARD for repayment of interest component under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. It goes for the poor people, the houses. And it is for NABARD that we have given that money. So the supplementary demand for grants is not coming for anything else but to meet the pressing needs of government's schemes which are going for the common people. And therefore,
Please.
I'm coming for one by one. I'll certainly address CPF. Binay Vishwamji, I will certainly address it. So, then sir, there's a lot of concern, genuine concern, legitimate concern. I am with members when they speak with concern, particularly on the GST compensation fund. Supplementary demand for grants, item number 6, 8,292.75 crores for meeting expenditure on additional transfer to GST compensation fund. Center is moving. We are not holding anybody's money back, and we are going as per what was decided in the GST Council. Sir, again, item number 12 of the supplementary demands for grant. Defense pensions, 1,028.52 crores.
Please.
Sir.
Please. Please, let her speak.
So, item by item, I can highlight to say that the supplementary demands for grants is just in time to meet those very important common man related schemes, and it is for that this set of demands have come. So I'll probably just miss out naming the honorable members, but the issues which they've raised I'll try to address. Devolution of funds to the states was a very important part of Honorable Member Shakti Singh Gohil when he spoke about various things. Although we were talking about the supplementary demands for grants, Honorable Member has raised very many larger issues, some of which I would like to respond. Devolution of the state share in central taxes, sir. Just to set the background, I want to lay this. In the RE 2021-22, 7.45 lakh crores have been done. And in 22-23B, 8.17 lakh crores are being projected already for 22-23. The entire RE, revised estimate 21-22, has been released in February to enable states to spend in time. So the entire release for this year, as projected in the RE 21-22, has been released in February. There were some honorable members who also said you should do it in time, otherwise when the states are planning their budget, they won't be in a position to understand how they're going to get. I'm not even indicating to them, I have released it to them, totally. Therefore, Center has no interest, in fact on the contrary, Center has an interest in helping states to get it in time. I take it as my duty, so that at least in these times when states are at the front end getting the economy to revive and also to come out of the pandemic related setbacks, states need the money, and so I have personally supervised once in November to release double the installment within 1 month, and again in February to release double the installment within 1 month, and in February itself clear the entire year's dues to the states so that they can plan for their next year coming. Another important such transfer, sir, which on the basis of what was agreed in the council, is that we borrow the money for paying the compensation because we were not earning as much as we need to pay to the states on the compensation. Transfer to the states based on the back-to-back loan arrangement which was agreed in the council was 1.59 lakh crores. That's already transferred to the states in time every month. Finance Commission grants, and as against the actuals of 1.84 lakh crores in 2020-2021, the outlay provided in 21-22 is 2.11 lakh crore. transfers to states under centrally sponsored scheme 2020-21, 3.08 lakh crore, 21-22, 3.26 lakh crore, 22-23, 3.33 lakh crores. Not decreasing, on the contrary, increasing, and it should increase. But I want to draw the attention of honorable members. Nowhere is the devolution to the states being held back by the center. Central sector seems, sir. Actuals of 2020-21, 16,143 crores, 21-22 RE, 45,123 crores, and B of 22-23, 49,026 crores. So there's no reduction, in fact, timely disbursement. Sir, this one point which I want to seek your permission to say is not at all a part of this supplementary demand for grants, but in the context of GST payments and also this suggestion that no, the center has been not fair about distributing GST compensation, and also raising a matter which has been long settled, solved, about an IGST payment, on which questions were raised by an honorable member. I would like to highlight, sir, point by point, I'd like to say this. Till 2018-19, when a formal system of disbursing, dividing, sharing IGST came into play, that system came into play only in 2018-19. But till before that, the IGST which kept accumulating, in 2017-18, much before the system of per formula distribution of IGST came into play, in 2017-18, by the end of that year itself, 1.76 lakh crores had accumulated under the IGST. This is not a matter which is pending now. I'd like to make it clear. But that time when there was no formulation, the GST Council decided that we need to quickly disperse this accumulated amount. Why is it sitting there? Please, can it be divided? So an ad hoc decision was taken by the then council to split the amount 50% to the states, and whatever 50-50 arrangement was done. So the amount should be distributed, apportioned among states and centers, had happened well before May of 2018, if I remember correct. Then the GST Council, which met, 37th Council, which met in September 2019, spoke about this particular division of IGST and said it has been, ad hoc divided between the states. Can we have some kind of a formulation per that, so that any leftover amount can also go back rightly to the states? So in September 2019, a group of ministers was formed, and that group of ministers went into the detail of how this division had been formulated, before the formulation came to place, how it was divided, what is the amount left behind, and how is that going to be shared. Now this group of ministers, I'm not sure if Honorable Member Sushil Modi is here, under his chairmanship when he was Deputy Chief Minister and Finance Minister of Bihar, he had gone through this whole thing along with other ministers, and on 4th December 2019, this group was constituted, and a report came in to see how it has to be divided, and if any excess that was paid to any one state, how is that to be retrieved? Should it be retrieved then, or should it be retrieved later? All this had been gone through in greater depth. On 16th May 2020, I had taken a decision, after looking into all the recommendations which have come, that this amount should be apportioned and consequential transactions should also be all carried out. So that entire issue of IGST and the pending payments, excess payments, reversal of excess payments, all that had been threadbare put in file, and reversal of transaction was split in two different stages. Even that had been accomplished, where in the first step 33,412 crore was transferred into the compensation fund, because from consolidated fund you don't deal with GST. Compensation fund is the one which receives it. The result of recovery of compensation given to states as a result of release of IGST, which has to be shown to them. In November 2020, sir, another 25,058 crore was released to states as the remaining share of that IGST issue, which was pending for the states. In all, through these two releases, central government released 58,470 crores from the Consolidated Fund of India for that transaction of the IGST, which till before 2017 and 18 did not have a formulation, and the GST Council had only ad hoc decided, please split it between the states and center. That entire episode had been gone through a GOM, which had all ministers in it. From the GST Council, a lot of ministers headed by Shri Sushil Modi, and after which, based on the recommendation, that entire episode of IGST pending payments had been cleared well before December of 2020. So I want that to be clearly put on the table, sir, so that members who would want to see it and get more details can get it. So IGST, no more pending amounts. Now everything goes per formula, per month, as it is collected, and there's nothing kept back. So there was a small confusion, I think, or if I have not understood correct, I'd like to stand corrected. Talking about GST cess collection, based on which compensation is paid, and that cess in the GST dispensation is levied only on sin goods, and those sin goods are already specified, notified and mentioned. That is one thing on which the center doesn't do anything. It is per the GST formulation that money keeps going to the states as and when that collection comes into the compensation cess fund. That is the compensation cess, which is under the GST regime. That cess is not to be mixed up with, say, the education and health cess, or the road cess, or any such cess which the central government collects, over which the usual observation would be, oh well, that doesn't come under the part of the Finance Commission's devolution formula. It is something which the center takes away. It doesn't come to the states. Of course, it goes to the states, but never mind, that's a different debate. But the GST compensation cess need not be confused with the cess that the central government collects, and that GST compensation cess, the central government has nothing to do with it. It is done and disposed of per the formulation which is in the GST Council. So if there is any confusion about, oh, cesses are all with the government, no, sorry, GST compensation cess is under the control of the GST Council. So there were one or two questions on insurance companies and their increasing losses. So I'd like to respond by saying 5,000 crores have been proposed for recapitalization of public sector insurance companies in this third batch of supplementary demand for grants. This recapitalization, sir, is linked with improvement in certain performance indicators of these companies. This will help them to reduce their losses and to improve their overall financial condition. because we're talking of insurance companies also, and because many members raised this issue, sir, eligible policy holders of LIC will also be entitled to get the IPO issue, because there is a reservation of up to 10% of the issue size for policy holders, and they may also get a discount on the offer price. So as regard the LIC issue, policy holders' concerns were raised, and also on the embedded value itself. Member Shantanu Sen had raised it. The embedded value, sir, the Indian embedded value of LIC has been calculated in an extremely scientific way and disclosed in the draft red herring proposal which was filed with the regulator and which now has been put in the public domain. The IEV of LIC is actually an actuarial metric, and it's based on the value of in-force business and has been reported by globally renowned actuarial firms. So investors and experts, particularly belonging to the actuarial field, have assessed the overall valuation of the life insurance company based on the IEV, and also the financial statements are also available for people to have a look at it. So EPFO, Binay Vishwamji, I can't see him here. And also I think Priyanka Chaturvedi ji had raised the EPFO issue. So EPFO has a central board, which is the one which takes the call on what rate has to be given for them. And they had not changed it, I don't know, for quite some time. They've changed it now. From 8.4, it has come down to 8.1. And on that, a lot of questions were raised. And I appreciate I quite recognize the concern of the honorable members. It's a decision taken by the central board in which representatives of the various segments which are part of the EPFO are all seated in the board, inclusive of workers' representatives, management representatives, government representatives, all of them are seated in the board. And they have taken this call to bring it down to 8.1. And I think the Honorable Minister, Bhupendra Yadav ji, had explained as to why he had to take this call. I just want to place before Honorable Sir, you, and also to have it put on the record of the government, of the Rajya Sabha, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana is at 7.6%. Senior Citizen Savings Scheme, sir, is at 7.4%. PPF is at 7.1%. State Bank of India's highest rate given for some portfolio, which is like 5 to 10 year fixed deposits, is at 5.50%. And it has a markup for senior citizens, which takes it to 6.3%. Government's own borrowing, the G6, on an average for across various tenors, is at 6.28%. That is, if government goes to borrow from a certain fund, it has to pay that kind of a rate. With all these, the EPFO has taken a call to give it at 8.1%. I just want to lay these facts before, sir, so that the fact that EPFO's central board, which has representatives from various different stakeholders for the pension fund, employees' pension fund, have taken a call. 40 years it has not been brought down to, yes, 40 years. There are today's realities which do keep us in the context of decisions which are being taken by a central board of the EPFO. It has yet to come to the finance ministry for approval. But the fact remains, these are the rates which are prevailing today, and it is still higher than the rest of them. So quite a few members had concern about defense basic equipments are not available. You're not taking care of purchases and defense. And with due respect, Manya Shakti Singh Gohil also spoke about it, I think. Shoes, suits are not even available. Bullets are not available. Pardon me, sir, if I sound a bit cynical. Hearing it from Manya Shakti Singh Gohil worries me a bit. If that kind of concern could have been voiced during the Congress's 10 years in rule, Indian Defence Forces would have been much better in their position. And I'll tell you some of the situations which arose. Sir, in 2000, Manya Jaitley ji's quotations are available, which I want to read. Even the CAG's report, sir, it said no significant improvement in the availability of ammunition. September 2016, talking about an earlier term. So the situation, sir, for our defense forces was so helpless at that time. And I remember myself sitting and looking into the defense procurement in my capacity at that time in Defense Ministry. I distinctly remember in February 2018, the DAC at that time accorded the approval for 41,000 light machine guns of over 3.5 lakh crores urgently to be bought. More importantly, I'll quote Shri Rajnath Singh, who had sometime later made this observation, but it captures the pictures. I'm quoting Shri Rajnath Singh. In 2009, there was a shortage of 3,53,755 bulletproof jackets in the country. But procurement was not done for a long time. A request for proposal for procurement of 1,86,138 bulletproof jackets has been issued in April 2016, and the tender in this regard was allotted to April 9th, 2018 to an Indian buyer. It addresses, unquote, it addresses two things, sir. That we had very quickly ramped up purchases of essentials, inclusive of bulletproof jackets, and I'll give you other examples of what other things were bought also, and also making sure that such essentials for our soldiers are bought from Indian buyers. Atmanirbhar defense, sorry, you want the name of the supplier so that you can accuse me of doing some crony business? Not at all.
Vinay Viswamji, please. Vinay Viswamji, please. No, please. Not of please.
Kindly please explain us why and what provoked you or prompted you to close down the defense ordnance factories.
No, I'm coming to
Thank
that.
you.
Don't keep asking
Thank
me a question for which I've already said I'll answer. I'll answer
Please.
that. I'll answer that. Sir, so for people who are worried about basic essentials for defense, for soldiers, for their guns, for their bulletproof jackets, for the bullets, for the carbines, and even for fighter aircrafts. 10 years of Indian defense history has recorded nil purchases, sir. 10 years were lost. 10 years were lost that after 2014, rapidly we had to buy from pin to aircraft, everything. And I will go on repeating a list of things, sir, which made our defense completely disarmed. And I will repeat this line that Honorable Member Shakti Singh Gohil, with such intensity when he questions me, I would say, I wish he had said this during that set of 10 years, when none of this was done, none of which has been purchased. Oh yes, please.
Please.
मैं सिर्फ यही रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूं कि आप सीएजी रिपोर्ट जो है, मैंने आपको पैराग्राफ दिया, मैंने आपको चैप्टर दिया, मैंने आपको साल दिया, मेरा कोई एलिगेशन नहीं था. दिस वाज द फैक्ट बाय ए इंडिपेंडेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑडिट एजेंसी. So kindly reply on those things rather than going here and there blaming previous government, this government. I didn't make any political observation. I raised the concern which was highlighted by the independent constitutional agency, sir.
So therefore, the points that we will raise, and when I address it, no, it's not, you can't be talking about some other time. I've asked you a specific point on which you please give me a reply. I'm giving specific points and replies for that. But in defense, sir, nothing arises overnight. The legacy problems are also festering us that we are trying to address that in...
Please.
Yes, 10 years was even longer time. Yeah. 10 years was even a longer time when nothing was purchased, sir. Let us concede that point.
Please.
10 years is procurement is being done in 7 years will have to be appreciated, sir. Sir, so defense, Honorable Member Priyanka Chaturvedi also felt that defense expenditure, defense allocations have come down. I'd like to just highlight, sir, when we are talking of defense and defense-related allocations, there are 4 broad headings. They are not clubbed into one because the purposes are so drastically different from one another. Civil expenditure for defense, revenue expenditure for defense, capital outlay for defense, and defense pensions. So I'd like to just draw the attention of the Honorable Member that not on any one of those heads in the last 4 years has there been a reduction in the outlays. Instead of reading each one of them, I'll just read 1920 actuals to 22-23, but I'll submit this paper so that the details can be seen by the members. Civil expenditure, sir, 1920 actuals, 16,522, 22-23 BE, 20,100, and the trajectory is only upward going. Defense services revenue, 2,07,572, whereas now it is 3,33,000. Capital outlay on defense services, sir, 1,11,000 odd, and now it's 1,52,000 odd. Defense pensions, sir, 1,17,000 odd. Now it's gone 1,19,000 odd, but I will certainly lay this paper therefore on the table so that members can see it. Defense government corporatization, Honorable Member is not here, T.K. Selangovanji. I'd like to say corporatization is not necessarily privatization. Better performance, better functioning, better administration, bring in greater efficiency are one of the things on which the corporatization has happened.
Please,
sir,
please.
I have not even finished my answer. I've not even finished, sir.
She's not
there,
Vinayji, she's not please.
And there, because it was Sri T.K. Selangovanji coming from Chennai as he does, he's not here now, but I'll take this opportunity to say, the Avadi tank factory, sir, which is the unit which is in Chennai, has been given a 7,523 crore worth order for building 118 Arjun class tanks for the Indian Army only a few months ago. 7,523 crore worth of orders for Chennai Avadi tank factory for building 118 Arjun tanks. Atmanirbhar, Indian manufacturer, public sector manufacturer, money is already given, order for 118 tanks.
Thank you,
So-
madam. When he is not here.
Please, let her speak.
Even I am thankful for that. Giving so much amount for Kavadi tank factory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So questions were raised on food subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, allocation on Manrega, reduction in the outlay for health, and also negligible increase for social sector. So I think this has been answered even during the budget speech. However, I would just like to draw the attention of honorable members. These apprehensions about adverse impact on changes in the outlay are not well founded, sir. Manrega particularly is a demand-driven program. So as and when demand comes in, we do place it. The amount in 21-22 BE, sir, is 73,000 crore. And the actual, meaning the RE, revised estimate for 21-22 is 98,000, much higher than the BE. But the BE this year for 22-23, for the year beginning April 1st, is 73,000 again. So we've not reduced from the BE of last year. Meaning the current running year's BE is exactly the BE we have given for the forthcoming year commencing 1st April. And let me remind you, the RE for this year is already 98,000.
Please, Vinay Viswamji. Please, let her speak. Please.
Sir, demand driven, demand is there, demand is there, demand is there. Provision is made, provision is made, provision is made whenever there is a demand. Sir, food subsidies, sir. Koi pending nahi hai, sir. I want to please someone, come on, don't
Please.
keep giving running commentary, sir. This is going on record and I am not even given a chance to
Reply to
give
me.
reply to each one of the running commentaries. Let's be talking on facts. You corner me on facts, I'll give you the reply. If I'm wrong, please hold me responsible. But no point if you keep shifting the milepost. When I've answered one, already a running commentary on a milepost being changed. I'll answer that also, sir. Is this going to be running like this? I'm sorry to have to seek
Please.
the protection on this.
I'm
but
requesting
sorry.
all the members, please.
I'm honestly ready to answer every question, sir.
Please.
Sir, on the food subsidy, again, concern was raised. Provision under food subsidy, is it coming down? The provision under food subsidy, again, sir, covers the gap between the issue price of the food grains and their economic cost. When there is no change in the issue price of PDS food grains, the question of any adverse impact on beneficiaries does not even arise. Now, food subsidy provisions, sir, 21-22, 2.43 lakh crores. 21-22 again, RE, 2.87 lakh crores. So when the food subsidy is required, more than what was mentioned in BE, we have readily provided without any hesitation. So the additional expenditure of 1 lakh crore has gone under the PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. So Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana started with 2.43
Manya
lakh
Mantriji,
crores.
please, 1 minute.
Finance Minister is replying to the demand for grants appropriation bill. I propose that we may extend the sitting of the House till her reply is over.
जैसा बीएससी का भी निर्णय था, सदन की सहमति है, माननीय मंत्री जी की रिप्लाई तक हम बैठ रहे हैं। प्लीज।
Thank you, sir. So the food subsidy provision, sir, of 1 lakh, additional 1 lakh crore for the additional expenditure has gone for the Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana scheme, which was under the BE in 21-22, beginning of this financial year, we gave 2.43 lakh crores. In the RE itself, it has gone to 2.87 lakh crores. And for the coming year, we have given it as 2.07 lakh crores, and therefore, there is no reduction in the sense of that which is required, we are continuously giving. Fertilizer subsidy, sir, another one very important concern, which I think even at the beginning we have mentioned about it, similar to the food subsidy. The outlay under fertilizer subsidy covers the gap between the issue price and the economic cost. When issue price to farmers of fertilizers has not been changed, there can be no adverse impact on the farmers. In 21-22, which is the current year which is running, the BE was 79,530 crores. The RE, which is actually even now, has been raised to 1.40 lakh crore due to rising global fertilizer prices, and the input prices are also going up. So the BE 22-23, which is coming budget, we have already given fertilizer subsidy 1.05 lakh crores, which is 31% more than 21-22 BE. One, the last time when the import price went up, we bought it, we made sure that burden is not shifted. This time too, the allocation is 31% more than the last year's allocation. Manrega, I've already explained, sir. So largely, I think issues raised by honorable members have all been, I think, addressed. The particular point about why we have to go through the infrastructure funding route has been severally explained, but the multiplier effect is what has made us go through that route than any other. Revenue expenditures multiplier effect is not substantial, and therefore we have chosen to go through that route. So therefore, the supplementary demand for grants has come with only demands which have immediate impact on the common people, particularly through the Awas Yojana and the explanations that I've given for those emergency expenditures. I seek the House and the cooperation of the entire House for supporting this demand for grants, and also for the excess demand for grants, which is as a result of a PAC's recommendation. Thank you very much.